And we are live. Welcome, everybody. This is Fifs Podcast, a live show, Age of Ashtron. I am, as always, your semi-quasi sort of host, Mr. Eric Rice, at AYRYK. I'm joined today once again by the alliterative Miss Ash.
Just let your glow. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm fancy.
She gives the people what they want, Miss Breon.
not today, Satan.
Or any day.
And you know him, you love him, the real Black Spider-Man, a.k.a. Mr. Watch Out for That Fan, a.k.a. Mr. Still Funny, a.k.a. Mr. He Liked It So He Put a Ring on It. It's Justin.
Yo, like, never mind. We'll do Daredevil later, but I just finished it. I see what everyone says. Wilson Fisk is gonna get an Emmy for that show. Like, I see now. God, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. It was greatness.
What wasn't greatness though? So, Tiff, for reasons unknown, has been watching the first season of A Different World.
That's the best.
Why?
That's the season with Denise in it. No.
That's the thing. So I had seen like maybe one or two episodes of the first season,
Pregnancy
but
brain.
no. Tiff, bless her heart, went through the entire first season, and it is so bad. Like, there's no continuity, there's no direction. It's just like Denise's shenanigans at an HBCU. Here's the older student who's trying to get right. Here's the random white girl. You just stand over here and be white. Here's love interest for Denise. That, oh, wait, you won't show up in the Cosby Show, so we have to find a way to make it so you don't get together. Like, it's so bad. Oh, God, it's so bad.
You couldn't watch the first season back in the day. I never watched the first season when I was a kid. The first season was terrible. Until Whitley and Dwayne become the main characters, don't watch. You can't do none of that.
No, it's not even about college at that point. It's look at how Denise struggles to study. What's going to happen today's episode? A test.
This is
it.
The weird thing about that show to me is that on the Cosby Show, it was that Denise was super smart. She was great at school. She had top grades. She gets to this school, and I don't know what happened. Like, they started making her the flakiest thing ever, and it's just like, I don't like flaky people in general, so maybe that's why I didn't like it. Bothers me.
See, the season finale of season 1, Theo shows up, and Theo's like, yeah, in high school it was just too easy for you. You peaked too early. See? That's what happened. I'm just like, wait, no, this is not the right lesson.
No, that's exactly how life works. Sometimes you peak too early, and then you're just screwed forever. So don't peak early, kids.
But then she drops out, and then when she comes back to the Cosby Show, she's like she just dropped out, and then she ran off and got married.
It came out of a light-skinned child.
Came home with, that wasn't her baby though. Although granted, the girl that was supposed to be Olivia's mama was also darker than Olivia, so I really don't know where Olivia's supposed to have came from.
Maybe he wasn't the daddy. Look, that happens sometimes.
They was in Africa.
Especially in the 80s.
Working extra hard.
It could have been Johannesburg.
Boom. Problem solved.
But no, and there's also this really weird scene where the dean tries to scare Theo into not coming to Hillman. He's like, yeah, people come down to Hillman, they hang out, they have a good time, get sucked in by the allure. Next thing you know, they're flunking out all their classes because they weren't prepared. Hillman is a meat grinder, and you have to study. If you're not going to study, then don't come to my school. It's like, wait, what? I thought, why are you chasing the money away? Why are you chasing the money away?
He wants you to be ready to do the school proud.
That's when Tiffany reminded me. This was basically Bill Cosby's soapbox of, you better not screw up in school, young black kids. It just reaffirmed my hatred, my just utter disdain of Bill Cosby and his writing. Like, I can't believe I'm about to say this sentence out loud. Let's remove the fact that he's a serial rapist.
Oh
He
God!
sucks as a writer.
Ignore that for a second.
Yeah, we're just gonna ignore
I
that.
know, right? Like, I just said that out loud. I said that out loud and unironically. No, like, he's a shitty writer. Like, oh my God, he's bad.
His existence is shitty.
Now, once again, the first seasons of lots of shows take a moment, okay? I still love A Different World. I can't.
Oh, no, you can tell the difference from the first episode of season 2. Like, it is infinitely better than anything season 1 put out. It is a noticeable difference. The tone feels different. The acting is different. The characters actually act like they get on each
I like the theme song change. I feel like the theme song change really cemented it in. Because when they was watching the car in the theme song, it was like, where y'all watching this car at? Because y'all in college.
Whatever the car has to do with it, even though most of y'all ain't got no cars, but okay.
Whose car is this, and where are you watching it at?
Maybe it's a fundraiser of some sort.
on the door.
Why is it like 5,000 people? Okay, see, I have so many questions about the opening, and they never really explained that. But then, in the actual little montage opening, when they start jazzing it up a little bit, then we start getting a little bit, into the good stuff. But that original, that Denise as a bumbling, flaky college student who everybody was in love with.
Oh God!
I'm convinced that was punishment for Lisa Bonet showing her titties.
Could be.
Damn.
It was the
So
punishment.
I didn't realize this. Denise was actually supposed to be in season 2, but she and her husband got pregnant, and they didn't want to have a pregnant student on the show.
Yep.
Good for all of us.
A lot of what Bill Cosby did with Lisa Bonet and Denise was because A, she wanted to do movies outside of the Cosby Show that didn't fit in the Cosby Show image, which included sex scenes, blood, and witchcraft and whatnot. On top of that, she decided to go marry a rock star and have a baby.
Well, thank you. What's that little girl named Zoe? What's the daughter name?
Zoe
Kravitz. Thank you, Zoe Kravitz, for saving Different World for me, because I love watching the reruns of that show for like ever, and I am so glad that you were born, because everything changed after that. Not that I don't love your mama. I'm just saying I love Different World. I'm just saying.
We just love her not on Different World.
We love her exactly. We love her not on that platform. Bad platform. That's all it was.
There you go. See, sometimes it's not a good fit. Sometimes it's just not a good fit.
Sometimes you just gotta stick the head in.
God dang it! See, and as I was saying that, I was like, please, no one make the penis joke.
Not today, Satan.
Speaking of penis jokes, Rick Santorum.
That is the perfect segue.
Is what we call a segue. This is why we get paid absolutely nothing.
Oh shit! I was not expecting.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god!
Speaking of penis,
I can't really fool with you.
Rick Santorum was talking again.
Oh Jesus Christ!
About Bruce Jenner.
Yes, that did happen.
Yeah, and Rick Santorum, for once,
Didn't say something stupid.
didn't just foot entirely down his throat. Like, normally when we hear Rick Santorum talk about marginalized people, he tends to say stuff like, oh, I don't know, poor people are poor because of bad choices, or, oh, hold on. Let me see if I can bring up, like, his greatest hits. But,
I refuse.
no, he actually...
We will not sit through Santorum receipts.
But no, he actually said, with Bruce Jenner, you have to respect everybody, which is, a shrewd political move. We know he doesn't actually believe it. We know no one in the Republican Party actually believes it. They're just saying this because they don't want to chase away voters. They're, for the first time since I can actually remember, they're not actively trying to chase away non-straight white male voters.
That's because they go on a downtrend. You can't. Look, you got to play the numbers. Politics is a numbers game.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers is going down. You gotta figure something else out. You gotta get a little more moderate. And Rick Santorum has plenty of crazy left. This was a freebie.
And not to mention, there is plenty of money to be made off of white gays. And while Bruce Jenner is obviously not a gay man,
they lump it all together.
Exactly. Everyone lumps it all together. There is money to be made off them twinks, honey. They got bank. And quiet as it's kept, outside of the whole gay thing, they have a lot of them tend to be actually kind of conservative.
Interesting conundrum there.
Mm-hmm. Conservative and capitalist as fuck.
Like Ben Carson.
I never understood log cabin Republicans. Like, have conservative values, whatever. I don't get how you can ally yourself with a party that is actively against denying you rights. Like, that's their platform. Their platform is, we don't want you to have the basic rights that straight people have.
Oh, an update
Bring back a burger.
To this story.
Bring me back a burger. Bring you back shit.
Santorum, after he made this statement that we have to respect everybody, added online, many of you may have read a story published by the website BuzzFeed where I was asked for my thoughts regarding Bruce Jenner. My comments affirmed Jenner as a person made by God in his likeness, as we all are. It was meant to express empathy, not a change in public policy. #compassion. As Gawker notes, now Santorum has one little thing he'd like to add. Don't worry, I'm still a dick, according to Ashley Feinberg at Gawker, published yesterday around noon. So don't worry, he has not updated his views. He is just verifying for you Bruce Jenner is in fact still a human being.
That is actually a step up from...
Fuck it. Transgender people are human beings? What?
That's how low the bar is.
Honestly, though, that is a great way to say nothing and still make a comment. Like, many people could learn from this.
Bruce Jenner's a human. We still have to respect humans.
Ta-da!
But not poor people. Poor people aren't human. Because you don't have to respect that
at all. Yeah, no.
And not to mention, I think I meant to mention this before, Bruce Jenner also came out as a Republican during that interview. So
bingo, and that's the whole reason.
He probably saw okay, if Bruce Jenner comes out as a Republican, I'm going to get them gay ducats. I'm telling you, it's strategic. It's strategic. Like, Slick, I am thinking about making a bracket for this election.
That's the other thing, like I was talking about, Leslie, the whole conservative morality that tries to use Christianity for its own purposes, and only for its own purposes when it has to do with actual cash money, is what bothers me on so many levels. Because that morality compass will kind of find its own north, so to speak. And I mean, hey, if you're going to do it, at least be solid.
Well, yeah, it's a marriage of religious and political belief for convenience. Like, it's not for what's actually, like, because, like, the whole gay marriage thing that's going on right now, and the argument, well, religiously, marriages should be between a man and a woman, and that is our stance because in the early parts of the Bible it says that homosexuality is wrong. It also says that you shouldn't wear clothing made of mixed fabric, and there's a whole bunch of animals you can't eat. Well, that gets undone in the New Testament where it says, you know, those things aren't unclean anymore. Yeah. There's also this little passage in one of Paul's letters that discusses the fact that all these laws about morality, not being around people who engage in things that violate different parts of the Christian religion, people who engage in adultery and fornication and all this stuff, Paul makes very clear.
It also
these
says that you shouldn't wear clothing made of mixed fabric, and there's a whole...
The volume is still on here.
I'm sorry, I was trying to pause the video.
So, where he makes it very clear, these are rules for members of the church. They do not apply to the world because they aren't members. If you went, and Paul basically says, these aren't rules for you interacting with people who aren't members of the church, because if they were, you would never interact with anybody else. These are rules specifically for you all, no one else. So if all of these people who are talking about, well, my religion demands that we stand against this, no. Your religion demands you have a talk with the choir director. Your religion has absolutely nothing to do with this law. It's actually very clear that these rules don't apply to these people because they aren't members.
They don't care.
Right. The other part of this whole argument is cool. You want to make the whole it's a religious argument. Fine. If it is a purely religious stance, don't attach federal benefits to it. Don't attach tax breaks to it. Don't attach medical benefits to it. If it is just a religious thing, then cool. Just keep it in the church. Oh, wait, no. You enjoy that tax break you get from being married, and you enjoy being able to share each other's health insurance as long as it's not Obamacare. Like it.
No, even if it is.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is why it's all a load. Because it's about, I think that gay people are icky, and so I want them to not get married. It is the hashtag that Brian doesn't want to let me start. Hashtag blame anal. Anytime something goes wrong,
we discussed it.
Blame anal.
Honestly, I would rather people just say they think I'm icky rather than just trying to throw the Bible at me. If you think I'm gross, you think I'm gross.
Well, see,
just say that. If you think black people are just lazy sacks of shit who shouldn't have rights, just say that. Don't try to justify it by twisting the Bible.
Well, the whole thing is that you're supposed to be like spreading the gospel, and then like you have to work on that. Like I feel like your first order of business as a Christian, and maybe it could just be me, is like you're supposed to be spreading the gospel. Spreading the gospel. And God will do what God does and, get stuff together. That's how I feel about it.
Brian, you're asking too much now.
I feel like that's...
Love, respect, and serve people? That's crazy talk. You know, it's a lot more fun. Talk. Yeah.
Tommy!
Oh, man. So now that we've veered into religion,
yes.
I feel uncomfortable talking about this story. No, I don't. I don't at all. There was a shooting at an art exhibit in Texas. A woman, I've forgotten her name, and I'm not even going to attempt to get it right. Pamela G something. Anyways, she's a shitty human. Yeah, some shitty human. Decided to have a Draw Muhammad event.
Yep. Because what could go wrong?
For those of you that have been paying attention, in the Muslim faith, it is against their I guess dogma is the right word. I could be using that word wrong.
Tenets?
Yeah, it is against their tenets, their religion, their dogma to make a graven image of the Prophet Muhammad. And this is because, if I'm remembering it correctly, they didn't want people to worship the graven image. They wanted people to more so focus on the ideals and ideas and preachings and teachings of Muhammad. Hey, something that maybe Christianity could have learned from. But what do I know?
Actually, that was the direct reason. Because it's not in the Quran, really. It's in the Hadith, the teachings of Muhammad, where he says you should not make any images of me, as well as you're not really supposed to of any of the prophets, because they wanted to avoid any comparison to Christianity, where Jesus is viewed not only as a prophet but as the Christ, and so he is worshipped along with God. Muhammad wanted to avoid this because Muhammad was the greatest prophet for their religion, but he was not divine in any sense, and so to avoid being worshipped instead of Allah, he said that you could not make images of him. And it's been upheld to various degrees. There's some very early, well, not early, but some like Persian art that is still around where they actually drew Muhammad. They just had a veil or flames covering his face or flames covering his entire body. it was arguably heresy then too, but they were a little less strict in some cases then. Over time, it has become a much harder rule about not depicting the prophet in any way.
Right.
And is viewed as the ultimate insult when an outsider draws a picture of Muhammad, especially a satirical or mocking picture, which is what this event was really about.
Right. This event was, we're going to fuck with
The more you know. Eric over here with the More You Know Chronicles.
Damn it.
Yeah, man. But no, that's what this whole event was. This whole event was, we're going to fuck with Muslims.
Oh, see,
because nothing...
Basically.
Go ahead.
I know it's the free, see, and they're under that free speech thing, but to me, it's like yelling fire in a crowded theater.
Yeah.
And basically your intentions got somebody shot, and then then somebody else had to shoot and kill 2 people. Like,
was it worth it?
All of that, all of that.
And of course, this asshole is going on, you know. This asshole is going on all the cable news networks, and she's saying, "Oh, free speech and brutal Islam." Like, no, you set up an event to piss people off, and then when someone showed up to bring the drama to your house, you want to act like, "Oh, this was completely unavoidable."
Yeah.
Basically, they got Sharkeisha. They got Sharkeisha.
They spent $10,000 on security for that event. She knew what could happen. That's why there were the police there. That's why there was all this security there. She hired $10,000 worth of security for the event because she knew something like this could happen. And my personal belief is that she was hoping something like this would happen. And it did. And she got an officer shot over it. And no one is going to go about talking about how she's bad for getting this officer shot, when in some other cases all kinds of people get blamed when people who are clearly BSing or unrelated and an officer gets hurt, injured, or killed. It is all their fault. But this lady, no one seems to be blaming her that there is a guy who got shot in the leg who wears a uniform. No one seems to be holding that to her account.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought cop lives mattered.
Stop.
All lives matter, Justin.
Except black
Look. Here's my thing, and this is a healthy level of cognitive dissonance from me, and I'm actually okay with it. If you do something like this, if you are drawing a picture of the Prophet Muhammad for the sake of fucking with people, whatever happens next is on you. Yes, I'm blaming the victim. Yes, I'm completely okay with saying I'm blaming the victim in this instance. You brought it on your fucking self. You did this because you wanted someone to come and, like, you wanted to get them angry. Well, when you want to make someone angry, this is what happens. Sometimes they show up to your house with an AK-47.
But
Sometimes they just knock you the fuck out.
I'm not even like
Sharkeisha.
So, like, okay, you want to do something, you have a thing in your head that you want to accomplish with this whole thing. My thing is, don't drag other people into your foolishness because you got a point to prove, and now somebody is shot because you had a point to prove. Like, that's not cool to me.
And I actually was reading a great article today on our favorite website, The Blaze, as well as some comments on this story. And it is a very interesting ability that you see as people go, this is free speech. I completely defend what she is doing to draw images of the Prophet Muhammad to mess with people. I don't support people standing on the flag because that is disrespectful, because that flag symbolizes America and freedom, the kind of freedom that we need to embrace, like the freedom of religion, which is what you all need to allow us to have, so you must ban gay marriage. And
that is
was
amazing.
an actual
Good job.
stream of consciousness in people's heads. Tying all that together, and that is just amazing. Like that you could take all of those thoughts, put them together, and go, "Yep, this makes sense."
Sounds legit.
That is perfect. Oh, that is perfect. Like that's the conservative mindset in a nutshell, right? It's Islam bad, flag greater than human life, gay marriage sucks. Yep, that is the conservative mindset.
Make sure that it's good.
And maybe some pickle. Maybe some pickles.
So it's funny
Pickles on it.
because they want to say, oh, standing on the flag. Like I saw this on Facebook. What is it? The Eddie Shepherd challenge or whatever, where people stand on the flag.
Yes.
And I saw people getting heated about it. Like, oh, you can't do that. The flag symbolizes America. I was like, okay, I have a question. What's more important, the symbol of a country or the ideals of a country?
You can't even agree what the ideals are most of the time.
If you're saying one of the ideals of the country is freedom of speech, what matters more, the symbol of freedom of speech or the actual freedom of speech itself?
In America,
How about say?
oftentimes the symbol is far more important than the principle, because we had the principle of all men are created equal. We also had slavery and Jim Crow. Clearly, we embrace the symbolism over the action.
Hence our podcast name.
What a great way. What a great way to plug that in. Yes, that's actually how we came up with the podcast name, in case you're wondering if it's an alcohol reference. No, this is what, right after Trayvon was murdered?
I want to say,
because
after somebody got shot.
Around that time, I feel like.
Yeah. And I said, like, just hearing all the narrative around, I was like, yo, we're really back to being 3/5 a human being. Like, they don't respect my humanity.
And I had to fight y'all to let us keep that name. Because y'all was not feeling it at first. Y'all was not feeling it.
Well, we've gone back and forth on this name repeatedly, and I believe we've all come to agree on the same point. When unarmed black men quit getting shot for doing nothing, or getting killed in police custody for terrible things like running when Baltimore PD, who has a history of beating and injuring people, is on your block. Yeah, wrongfully. Who had to put a $250,000 cap on payouts because they couldn't keep blowing this money paying people who they wrongfully injured. When those stop happening, when they quit killing unarmed black people, we'll change the name.
Or not.
We'll consider it.
So sort of jumping back, so yeah, that's how the name came up. Let's jump back to just do some quick hits on Baltimore. State Attorney Marilyn Mosby gave a great press conference, and she really showed in her press conference how to empathize with your people. Like, I think if you want to compare the two press conferences, Mayor Stephanie Rollins wig snatched. Mayor Wig. Her whole press conference was, I have to make the cops feel good. Attorney Mosby, on the other hand, her whole press conference was, I'm going to get justice for the people because I'm here to serve the people.
And that would get you a nice little letter sent to you.
I thought the Ferguson Fraternal Order of Police was trash. Oh, no. How quickly I've forgotten the Baltimore Fraternal Order of Police.
Baltimore
there's
will not
more.
be outdone.
But wait, there's more. Now.
So instead of Chief Wiggums, she'd be Mayor Wiggums.
Yeah, Mayor Wiggums.
In my nee voice, Mayor Wig.
How apropos. But no, so the Fraternal Order of Police sent a letter to Miss Mosby, and they said, I just want to jump to this part of the letter. I have full faith in your personal integrity. While I have the utmost respect for you and your office, I have very deep concerns about the many conflicts of interest presented by your office conducting an investigation in this case. These conflicts include your personal and professional relationship with the Gray family attorney, William Murphy, and the lead prosecutor's connections with members of the local media. Based on several nationally televised interviews, these reporters are likely to be witnesses in any potential litigation regarding this incident. Most importantly, it is clear that your husband's political future will be directly impacted for better or worse by the outcome of your investigation. In order to avoid any appearance of impropriety or violation of the professional rules of professional responsibility, I ask that you appoint a special prosecutor to determine whether or not any charges should be filed.
Y'all, that's some mafia shit.
Some awful nice political aspirations you got there. Be a shame if anything were to happen to them.
Like, they openly threatened a state attorney. So the other thing I find, there's a lot of hilariousness in this action. What I find most hilarious, this is a conflict of interest, but Bob, my whole career is dedicated to not making sure cops don't get prosecuted for the wrongs they do McCullough, is allowed to rig a special grand jury to get Darren Wilson off. But that's not a conflict of interest.
Him being connected to the Fraternal Order Police, to Darren Wilson's defense fund, not a conflict of interest. The attorney for the family of the victim having donated money to her campaign, the campaign of the person whose job it is to prosecute the cops if they did anything wrong, she has a conflict of interest. What? She gonna prosecute them better? She gonna prosecute them too tough?
That's not how that works. Like, if it's a judge, but a prosecutor's job is to prosecute. The defense attorney's job is to make sure the prosecutor don't run buck wild. That's your job. How do you recuse yourself? Be like, oh, I think you'll do your job too well. I think you should recuse yourself.
But that Leo bar, though. Y'all have that Leo bar on the books, but God forbid Mosby actually does her damn job.
You gonna threaten me and my husband?
Right.
Oh, that's low. You gonna bring family into this? That's cool. I be like, that's all right, then.
I'm telling you.
My next order of business after that trial is over is to get you on trying to intimidate an officer of the court. That'll be my next thing.
And you can prove it. You can just point to this letter and say, what do you mean by this line? For what purpose do you have of mentioning my husband's political career?
Exactly.
So that's the other thing. They want a special prosecutor because we actually, and this is how low the bar is, guys, we have a prosecutor that actually wants to prosecute, that actually has an interest in getting a conviction. Like, Baltimore was lit this weekend off of the announcement of charges. Like, there was I want to say it was somewhere on Penn Street, I want to say. Well, there was a block party, and basically they just had on loop Marilyn Mosby reading the charges of the officers. And they were just partying off of that.
I don't blame them.
So,
that's so sad.
But that's what the bar is, right? The bar is, oh my God, they're getting charged.
Yes.
Valid.
Do you remember the last time someone was charged for killing an unarmed black person? The guys that killed Jordan Crawford weren't charged. The guys that killed Tamir Rice weren't charged.
There's a guy, I think that guy is somewhere punching his girlfriend or something. I don't know.
No, it's George Zimmerman.
And
Zimmerman is the one that's...
He said someone for killing an unarmed black person.
Just someone. Oh, okay. I didn't get the case. Okay. Yeah. My bad.
You good girl. You good girl.
No. They charged the cop that killed Rico Boyd. They just said, because you didn't charge him high enough, I'm not going to allow you to charge him again, and everybody goes home free.
Yes. He was clearly intent on murdering her because Chicago has a specific rule. You cannot be accidental or negligent if it is shooting, because the argument is that by aiming a gun at someone, you are intending to kill them if you shoot them. And so he could not have been that was what it was. You can't be reckless with a gun. And so because he pointed the gun at her, he intended to kill her, so he wasn't acting recklessly. He had intent. And since you didn't prove a lack of intent, you can't uphold these charges. You didn't charge him high enough. Double jeopardy, let him go.
That's what we're going with.
Which is why, like Mosby did, you overcharge. That's actually one of the most hilarious complaints, is because the same people who will complain that these
didn't charge them high enough
overcharged will tell you in almost any other criminal case, you always overcharge at least some of the people.
Yeah.
Well, it gives you a bargaining chip. It also means that, let's say you charge, murder 2. You might not even be able to prove murder 2, but in most places, if you charge murder 2, they can also do manslaughter. They can also do negligent homicide. And so even if you can't convince the jury of the highest charge, then you might be able to get them still on a lower one. That's what's so odd about how they charge them in Chicago, is they literally went for the lowest bar, which is not how prosecutors do it. They always reach as high as they can, and then let the jury decide what to charge them less.
Right.
Exactly.
I remember when they charged Zimmerman, and they said, "Oh, second degree is too high," and I was like, "Nope, it's state of Florida. That's about right." Because state of Florida, when you charge murder 2, they let you charge everything underneath it. Like, they're trying to get George, like, they just threw in a child abuse charge just to see if it would stick. And, like, I remember watching the trial. They're like, everyone was like, "Oh, no, they didn't prove second degree murder." I was like, yeah, they didn't have to. Because Zimmerman's whole defense was, it's not that I intended to kill him, it's just that my actions led to his death. That's kind of the definition of manslaughter. He admits to manslaughter. And then they say the charge is manslaughter. So I was like, there's no way. He admitted to manslaughter on the stand. Like, that is the definition of manslaughter. He admits to that. There's no way that he can get up. Nope. So, anyways.
Then again, the prosecutor is terrible, so.
She's normally good at getting convictions. It's just those convictions happen to be against, brown kids. But that's something.
Well, anybody can, arguably, that doesn't mean you're good. Anybody can do that.
Right. I mean, look at him, man. He's black.
Well, yeah, that's where the phrase, any prosecutor worth their salt could indict a ham sandwich. Like, the fact that prosecutors can't get grand juries to even bring charges against officers isn't a sign that grand juries are tough to convince. It's a sign that prosecutors don't want to charge officers because they work with them.
Exactly.
Granted, we also have a bias towards police officers where when it comes down to the word of someone who was arrested versus a cop, we have a bias towards cops because appeals to authority. But even still, prosecutors don't want to charge them. Well, yeah, all of our entertainment. Law and Order, 24.
Yeah. But what makes what you just said so funny is the cops in Baltimore were trying to use the guy who was in the police van with Freddie Gray to bolster the story. But the dude comes back and was like, "I didn't say all that though. Dude straight up said, I talked to homicide. I ain't talked to no police. I ain't working with no police."
Because you know what happened? You know what happened, right?
Yeah.
The police put out that statement that said, "Oh yeah, the other passenger in the van said, he was thrashing around, he was banging his head, he snapped his own spine." He got word, "Hey man, streets is talking. You talk to police now?" Because you got to remember, Baltimore. If you remember the Carmelo Anthony Stop Snitching video, shot in Baltimore. That's where that came from. "Hey man, streets is talking. You talk to police now? That was good. You get hemmed up. You talk to 5-0 now. Whoa. I guarantee you, he ran to find the first news crew he could to set the record straight. Yeah. To let the whole world know, I don't talk to police."
But look at this quote right here. Dude straight up said, "I had 2 options today, right? Either come and talk to y'all and get my credibility straight with y'all and not get killed, or not tell us a true story. The only reason I'm doing this is because they put my name in a bad state." Basically, my nigga had a bounty on his head, so he's like, nah.
I live in Baltimore, and they said I talked to the police. Keep in mind, 51% unemployment.
So they were gonna find him.
1%.
We gonna find you.
They had that time.
But that brings me to another point, and it goes back to the appeal to authority. We believe cops. At what point are we just going to admit cops lie? And they lie a lot. Like in any situation like this where cops have killed an unarmed black person, they're going to lie. Every instance we have of this, they lie.
Well, that's the thing about when it comes to like the defense of the cops. It's just like, cops are in a dangerous job, and they are in a dangerous job, and how it's hard having to feel for your life all the time. You never know who has what, blah blah blah. But at the same time, you're totally human in that regard. But apparently, no one ever lies.
No,
so,
we're fine with cops lying. Have you seen 24? Have you seen Law and Order? Have you seen a Liam Neeson movie lately? We're fine with cops lying about people
as long
all
as
the
it's to
time.
get the bad guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this bad guy by lying, and that's good.
A shooting happened around here in Atlanta a few days ago where they basically said this girl was handcuffed in the back of a police car. Mind you, hands behind her back, handcuffed. They say while her and the officers were in the car, she somehow had a gun. I don't know how they managed to get her in a police car handcuffed when she had a gun. She opened fire while inside of the police car. The police officers got out, shot her. She ended up in Grady and died a few days later.
Is that the cop story, or is that what actually happened?
That's the cop story.
That's
Negroes is magic. If a man can shoot himself in the head, handcuffed in the back of a police car, why not?
And he's the second one. That's what I told before.
Chavis Carter in Arkansas. I didn't realize that story actually happened in Baltimore as well. And it's like, you really expect me to believe that you are so terrible at your job that you missed a gun on your pat down, and that you're so terrible at your job that you stop watching someone in your custody long enough for them to pull a gun on you while handcuffed.
Yes. I'm trying to figure out. Niggas is magic, man. I'm trying to figure out, and even back to the girl down here. If her hands are behind her back pointing down, how the fuck did she manage to shoot at them? Doesn't that mean that would have shot?
Was she still handcuffed? Like, I got so many questions.
Because this is part of it, is that they always do reenactments. But when they do the reenactment, they always have the cuff. No, it works. Because the cuffs are always extremely loose so that they can work them up and down. Except anyone who's ever even seen a cop show knows that is not how they handcuff people. They put the cuffs on as tight as possible so they can't move around like that, because if they had a hidden gun or knife, they would be able to get to it. Like, their argument is literally, no, guys, we're incompetent. We are incredibly incompetent. You don't know how stupid and bad at our jobs we are. We are so terribly dumb, awful at our jobs that they were able to get the drop on us.
Like, we gave them, we left the key sitting in a back seat, and, niggas is magic.
There's like, how do you crush your own, like, the whole thing about you somehow broke your spine and crushed your larynx yourself. And the thing that I thought about, how many have y'all seen Broken Arrow? John Travolta.
I have.
John Travolta. There's a scene in this movie where this guy is freaking out there driving off. John Travolta plays crazy, as he often does, and the guy's freaking out like, man, da da da. He's yelling, and John Travolta's like, shut up! Grabs a flashlight, hits him in the throat, and kills him. That's how that happens in a moving van. That is the only way that happens in a moving van, that you crush your larynx and your spine at the same time, is that someone else did it. That's it.
Seems legit.
And if you ever see Broken Arrow, you will know exactly what I'm talking about.
And it's hilarious at this point because they keep concocting all these stories, but people believe them every time. Like, it's to the point there may or may not have been a shooting in Baltimore, what was it, yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened, but this is what I do know. Whatever the cops said happened is probably a lie. Because that's what they do in these situations. If a dead person shows up around the cops, I'm 90% sure the cops are gonna lie about it. Yeah. Like, that's not even saying that I know what happened. I just know they're lying. Because that's what they do in these situations. Yep. They lie.
And
they lie, they cover their own asses.
And the great part about it is that they lie and cover their own asses. People know that they just cover their own asses, and yet they will tell you the problem here isn't the police, it's the community. The community should just trust the cops more. But the cops keep lying and beating people. Yeah, but if they trusted them and were nice to them, then they'd stop it.
Well,
you have no idea that's true.
That's the interesting thing about the conservative idealism, because once again, in the great state of Texas.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Oh, yes.
Our governor here has co-signed the Texas state guard, state troops, to go and monitor the military exercises of the, we'll say, national actual army, because
Joint Marine Army, something like that.
They think that it is a subversive attempt to overthrow, take over Texas and the Southwest regions and in-state martial law.
Yes. There's Operation Jade Helm, the Navy SEALs and Green Berets, about 1,200 personnel will be operating in the southwestern states, including Texas, from July through September, doing several exercises. The theory is that they aren't actually performing war games and exercises in the desert Southwest to prepare either for action in Iraq or Afghanistan, or is just basic training for acting in urban environments as well as arid desert areas. No. They're actually clearing out a bunch of Walmarts, and they're going to instate martial law. They're going to take all the political dissidents and militias and process them in camps at the Walmarts, and they're going to take over Texas and the surrounding southwestern states. No, this is actually so believed that the governor of Texas said that he's ordering the Texas State Guard to monitor the exercises to protect the Texas people and make sure the government doesn't try to take over the state.
That is some bully wang.
Oh my God!
I'm stunned.
Our governor, the person who's supposed to be in charge.
He's spending y'all.
That asshole was almost president. And that asshole was almost president.
No, not
Rick
that
Perry,
one.
right?
No, not
Greg Abbott.
Abbott.
Okay. That's right. That's
was,
how much of it.
I was floored. I thought it was an Onion article. I thought they were playing with me.
No.
That is terrible.
I read it to her.
I can't tell no more.
And she was just like, okay, like, that's obviously fake. And I was like, no, this is an NPR article. This is on NPR.com with sources. This is an actual story.
Cited.
We get what we deserve.
Dealwood. That's all I'm saying.
Like, this is what blows me about that. Cliven Bundy pointed automatic weaponry at federal agents and nothing happened to him. What the fuck do you think they're going to do to you in Texas? If a dude in Nevada can point automatic weaponry at federal agents and tell those federal agents, I'm not paying taxes, fuck you gonna do about it, and nothing happens to him, I'm pretty sure your piss-ass state is gonna be just fine. I'm pretty sure your Walmarts are gonna be A-okay.
They're not really renovating the Walmarts like they said. It's really just a cover for this operation to take over. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. This is the theory that they came up with, but it is absolutely impossible for cops to lie. I don't understand what's happening.
The government is coming to take over.
Come get you, but
agents of the state government. I think we talked about this before. At least I'm talking about it with Eric. Yeah. Sheriffs are seen as somehow, like sheriffs and local law enforcement are somehow seen as outside of the federal government or outside of the government, even though they are agents of the executive branch.
Well, you have to keep in mind
big government
that a lot of the conservative animosity is towards the federal government, towards national government. Because remember, it's a states' rights issue. The Civil War wasn't about slavery, it was about states' rights. The push against gay marriage isn't about homophobia, it's about states' rights. It's about the state and local government being able to decide. It's about the people I elected to be governor or mayor or sheriff, the people I know, the people who in many cases are part of long-running, entrenched family power systems that largely have discriminated against anyone outside of the straight white male structure. It's about those people staying in control and everyone else shutting up and accepting it. It's about states' rights. Also, ethics in gaming journalism.
It's always about ethics in games journalism. My favorite meme of that is spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen the end of Breaking Bad. But yeah, it's you see it's the scene. It's Walter White and Skyler, and Walter says, "Actually," and then Skyler says, "Don't sit there and tell me it's about ethics in games journalism." And Walter White's like, the next caption is, "Actually, it's about harassing feminists."
Speaking of,
I know, right? That was good, right?
Thank you
like the alley-oop?
Segue.
Like the alley-oop?
Mine was better.
I have a segue. So, yes, it was. But The Blaze, which, if you don't know, was that show, is a radio show founded by good old Glenn Beck. They decided to do a hashtag today. What was that hashtag? How to Spot a Feminist. And a shit show ensued. Let me see. Let's see if I can pull up some of these tweets.
I'm noticing a trend.
The Mashable got a few. Basically, anyone proudly boasting a women's studies degree while complaining about not finding a job. He or she is whining about this hashtag. Struggling at the side of the road to change a tire in a pouring rain, refusing all male help. Oh, and her beard. And this one, usually fat and ugly, always inherently unlikable, supremely hypocritical, snarky, annoying, deluded, and intransigent. I don't know how to pronounce that white people shit. But yes. I'm about to go on Twitter and find some more not publishing friendly.
Stupid.
But
well,
yeah.
it's been it seems to have been co-opted by real feminists, not the typical Blaze readers and listeners. And yeah, feminism, I don't know how it became a dirty word, but the first tweet I see here, the first tweet I see on the Smashable article, feminist, a person who believes in political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. How can you be against equality? I don't get it. I don't.
Easy, because equality, unlike the economy, is a zero-sum game. If you get more equality, there's less equality for me, and so I need you to have as little equality as possible. Yes, yes. The economy is not a zero-sum game, so there will always magically be more going into it, but equality is.
Well, gold will just keep going up until it doesn't.
Yes. But actually, I wanna show this one.
Oh God.
This particular set of tweets. Women have always been the primary victims of war. Women lose their husband, fathers, and sons in combat. I can't let this go. Hashtag how to spot a femicist. And then this is the other picture attached to it. is a scene from Our International Cemetery with male privilege. The suggestion being, obviously, that saying women are the primary victims of war is, of course, wrong because men have been our primary combat troops, and therefore, quote-unquote, male privilege is that they die in war, completely ignoring that throughout history, children are often murdered, and even in wars today, women are brutally raped and sold into slavery regularly in places where war is taking place. To sit and say women are not victims of war because we primarily only allow men into combat roles in this country is such a load of utter bullshit. And that one particularly offended me today.
People don't think about wars in other places. It's very you-centric. It's very all about what's going on around me. Like, if you were to ask, I remember that question came up, like, what is the most widely eaten meat in the world? Anybody American will say chicken. Chicken, that's it. We eat lots of chicken. No, it's goat. Because everywhere else in the world, it's goat. But much like how we measure things in inches and not centimeters, we're the only ones who think of things in certain instances because we're so us-centered. And it makes us really, really ignorant sometimes of what other people go through, or that other people even go through things, because we have these first world problems.
But as I scroll through this hashtag, you can see how outdated these images of feminists are. Like,
arguably, they're on the blaze. These are old.
I'm on Twitter now, but yeah, exactly. But if you go all the way back to the 1900s with suffragettes, that whole old maid ain't got no husband or the husband is oppressed thing, that shit is over a century old. And it's just...
Well, what else do you want? You wear pants? You can vote?
Look, they're still trotting out the same lazy, over-sexualized Negro tropes, which are clearly more than a couple centuries old. So, what were we expecting as far as updates?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
No.
Keep your head consistent.
This one though, feminists are good. They think both the genders need equal treatment. It's the feminazis, hashtag feminazis, that we need to make fun of. How to spot a feminist.
Wait, what? Okay.
Is that like the differences between black people? Never mind.
And there you go. It's the
pretty much.
I don't hate black people. I just hate niggers.
Man, look.
No, this is my personal favorite. How to spot a feminist. Gamergate will be harassing them even if they're not a games journalist.
Well,
that's the winner. I'm sorry, that one is the winner. No, it's. I mean, I get it. I get it. People don't want to let go of their privilege. They don't want to let go of the fact that I'll stick with video games because that's sort of the circles I travel in. They don't want to let go of their Call of Duty male power fantasies, and they don't want to have to deal with maybe medium isn't the healthiest. Maybe in a fantasy game and there's female characters, maybe I shouldn't have all of their armor be lingerie.
Justin, you cut out really bad there for me for a minute.
Damn. That's unfortunate.
I know it was going to be good.
Yeah, no, it was actually really good. No, I was just saying, like, just focusing in the games sphere, because that's sort of where I spend my time. Like, dudes really don't want to let go of their male power fantasies. And that's really what gaming is at its core. At its core, gaming is a male power fantasy. And they don't want to let that go. They don't want to have to... They don't want to have to consider the feelings of other people in that sphere. They don't want to have to consider, hey, if I'm doing a high fantasy game like a Skyrim, maybe I shouldn't have all of the armor for my female characters look like lingerie. maybe I can design female characters that aren't for male consumption.
That's crazy talk, Justin. That will mean women are human beings.
And
there's nothing wrong with being sexy, but I mean, come on. I mean, you're not fighting crime in a thong and gauntlet gloves, which is also, I have always wondered, what is it with men and gauntlet gloves? Those gloves that only cover this part of the hand and they go up to the elbow. Like, every superhero woman ever has these gloves, and I just want to know why.
Because of their delicate wrists, Brianna.
Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, you also have to keep in mind, like, Wonder Woman was born out of a dominatrix obsession that the original writer-artist had. So you may not want to delve too deeply into the psychology of where some of these particular outfits and stuff come from. Because actually, me and Brianna were talking about this earlier in relationship to that the outfits and appearances of women in comic books are geared towards men. And I was discussing the fact that also the appearances of the men are geared towards men. And so that the complaints about how male comic book characters are fetishized and sexualized, they are fetishized and sexualized for men. That's why, as we often hear complaints about, jokingly, in some of the Facebook groups we're in, you don't ever see like outlines of the male character's dick, because the fetishization is about how muscular he is, how you could be like him, how handsome he is. It is a fetishization of them, but it's geared towards men and male interests and this idea of masculinity and telling boys that they should be like this, look like this, act like this, be attracted to this. That's why the women's outfits show you every curve, and half of them you can see their nipples, but the men are almost sexless except for being bulgily muscular and looking like they were chiseled out of stone. It is a fetishization and sexualization geared towards straight men in both cases.
Right.
I do have to say, though, sort of staying in the same topic, I love the way the new Miss Marvel with Kamala Khan starts. She makes an offhand reference to, like, if she was a superhero, she'd dress like the politically incorrect Miss Marvel. And it's it's an awesome way of showing how you can be sexy and own your sexuality for yourself, not for male consumption. Which is, like Eric said, that's what all of this is about. Like, you have two major industries built on straight male consumption. Like that's what it is.
And I will say I never thought about it that way, because I was like, they never have, like, as far as being sexualized, like, they never have sexual organs. Women do. Men don't.
So, all right. How deep into comics do you want to go? Because I'm about to recommend Rat Queens, and I really think everyone here would enjoy Rat Queens.
Rat Queens?
The basic premise, 4 women in a Lord of the Rings style world kick ass. That's it. That's the story. They kick ass.
I like women who kick. Sounds like my kind of party.
I'll look into it.
I need to read this.
I will look into it. I don't know how far I'll get because I just started. I'm about halfway through the Infinity event that Marvel did, and
that is so good.
So I'm about halfway through, and I think I'm going to start Secret Wars 2015 when it launches tomorrow. I think I'm going to get Prelude and follow along with it in real time as opposed to getting the volumes afterwards, which is what I usually do. So I want to actually start keeping up with one.
I have a confession. I can't stand Marvel crossover events. Like, ever since Civil War, I can't stand them. Like, Infinity, I don't treat that as a crossover event because that was mainly an Avengers thing. But, yeah, I don't like them. I don't.
I didn't hate Civil War as much as everyone else seems to have hated Civil War. Though, again, I read the volumes well after the fact usually, so...
I liked Civil War until the last issue, where it's like Mark Miller couldn't help himself but to make a statement. And I get it, the whole thing is just sort of like an allegory for what was happening in American political times in terms of Big Brother and the rights of the people. But damn it, Mark Miller, can you just let me enjoy the story and the world you've created and the narrative within the world without interjecting your own narrative into the world? Anyways.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't finish the Sword of Truth novel series, because once you get about halfway through, the author is very staunchly anti-communism, anti-socialism, and it bleeds heavily into his work. He literally has an entire communist empire show up. His main character gets sidetracked into having to work in the communist country. Of course, him being a capitalist, keeping in mind this is all a fantasy novel. Him being a capitalist, he starts working capitalism secretly and then makes the most beautiful sculpture they've ever seen that gets destroyed because communism, and then he goes, literally, like, it goes through this whole sidetrack thing, and it's just like, dude, I get it. You're for freedom and America and justice and independence and capitalism, and I get it. You don't have to keep beating us over the head with it. Just tell the story.
So BioShock the novel.
Possibly further.
Damn. But no, so I bring up Rat Queens because there's a moment in Rat Queens where one of the lead males is kidnapped and effectively damseled, and they show his dick. And it's like, wow, that's kind of a subversion of, you know, the typical woman gets captured. Oh, she's stripped down. Look at this helpless woman. It's, hey, look at this stripped down man and his giant penis.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay.
Penis.
I wasn't expecting that.
I'm warning you up front. There is penis. I'm not telling you, like, penis happens.
Speaking of penis, Game of Thrones had penis appearance in the
We
last
are not
episode.
doing this.
We're not doing it.
veering.
It
We are
did.
running over.
Everyone who has
Absolutely
complained
not.
that Game of Thrones has not given equal time, which it hasn't, they're getting slightly better. They had some
just
penis
don't
appear
wanna
in this
discuss
last
it.
episode.
Why are we discussing dick?
So here's my thing.
I'm
I personally-
uncomfortable with this conversation.
I personally think male genitalia is disgusting to look at. That's just me. And it's not even from a heteronormative. It's not even from a heteronormative standpoint. It's just
We are doing
the
this.
penis in general looks disgusting. Like, I don't know how anyone could like this.
Yeah, no, look. I own a mirror. I don't get it.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
don't get it, ladies.
Oh my
Like,
god.
how you all put up with this?
Oh,
I don't understand.
Oh my gosh. No,
I don't.
honey, no.
And that
Okay.
is where we're going to end the show.
Yes.
On a classy note.
This is why I'm.
This is a classy
Oh,
show.
no.
I was gonna say
No.
this is why I'm a lesbian, but come to think of it, vulvas aren't attractive either.
No genitalia
I
is
disagree.
expressly
Genitalia is
attractive.
disgusting.
If you
Right,
compare the two, though,
That's true.
really,
Genitalia
And that's what I'm
is
doing.
not
If you compare the two.
expressly attractive.
look, women clearly win.
That's all we're saying.
Now, that's what. Well,
That's
No,
all we're
no,
saying.
What?
Like, if you compare the two,
well, wait.
Which one
No,
would you
it's for
rather
different.
look
It's for
at?
different reasons. Hold on, it's for different reasons. With a vagina, it's just kind of mangled, hairy looking thing. But with penis, it's just aggressive and points at you. It's just like move that away. Just why are you so aggressive?
good night, everybody. Who
Why
got
are you point that way?
This is the show,
Oh
Three Fifs
my
Podcast.
gosh.
You can find us on YouTube, 3fisspodcast.com. Listen to us on Stitcher Radio. Search
Leave us a 5-star review.
out.
What
Leave us
is
a 5-star review. We'll read it
But
on
not
the
of
air.
penises.
Follow us on Twitter at the number 3Fifs, FIFS
Why you gotta keep doing me like
podcast.
that?
You can find us
People are
on
insane.
YouTube. I already mentioned the website. This will be up fairly soon on Stitcher. Thank you all for listening. Leave us 5-star reviews. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like our videos. Share us with friends. We'll be putting the
Why
videos
y'all always
up
gotta
still.
do me like that? Why y'all gotta do the
No.
Grammy? Why you gotta do the Grammy get off the stage music with me though?
I'm
No.
doing the housekeeping.
We really did skip the housekeeping to start because we started with this different world.
Whatever.
But
I don't even know where to go from here.
we do appreciate all the love and support. We appreciate all the retweets, the thumbs up on YouTube, the shares, the likes, all of that. Thank you. It means a lot to us. We'll be back next week. We'll do this again. Like Eric said, find us on Stitcher Radio. We read all 5-star reviews on air.
Gotta be the voice of reason up in here.
Like us, share us, retweet us, 3fifspodcast.com. We are out. We'll see you next week.
Why is it my fault, though?
Peace.
Yes.
Bye,
Also, Gotcha Thrones Mondays after every episode of Game of Thrones. Me and at Carmela Lusta recap the episodes. Also, me and Justin may have a Marvel recap for you all, going over Age of Ultron, Daredevil, and possibly some other just random comics or games. Not sure when we'll quite get that out, but we're going to work out posting that at least to Stitcher and the website. We probably won't do a video for it. So, but yeah, like us, share us, retweet us, follow us.
Oh my God!
Things.
Don't mind the crazy.
No, the chat. I have to read this because wifey, she said the way to get into heaven is riding a dick.
Good night, everybody.
And we're done. See you all next week. We're out.